Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Trustee Winston is excused tonight. She has a work commitment at school. I believe it's the curriculum night. Superintendent Miller is excused tonight as there's a sickness in his family. So we'll go to the treasurer's report, please.
Good evening, everybody. By now you have all of the reports, hopefully, for 23-24 finalized. The budget report, your balance sheet report, and all the projections. So all of that should tie out. So hopefully 23-24 is kind of wrapped up now. I've included the summary here that kind of shows by fund where we ended up, which again I did check and does tie out to the projections, so that's should be final numbers hopefully, assuming the auditors don't want to change anything later on. I've also included the budget and balance sheet report for August. Listed below that. Same thing with projections have been passed out. Number 5, the annual village AUD annual update document that I filed here at state has been completed and submitted to them. It's all online based now. Kind of looking forward to this new platform. So that is all submitted and certified with them. If you want to see a copy of it, by all means, stop in, or I can email it to you either way. Through the close of business, on September 12th, we've collected $6,434,494, approximately 90.76% of the total adjusted warrant of $7,056,434, which is slightly ahead, very close to compared to last year. Last day to collect is going to be Monday, September 30th, and that will conclude our portion of the collection. And at that point, it is turned over to the county, where they can pay at the county a little bit more time. I believe it's for October and November, and then if they don't pay by then, it gets re-levied under January town and county bill. Number 7 is the latest rates for New York State retirement. Some of them on there we don't use, but I still listed them just so you can see them all going up anywhere between 1.2%, close to 5%. We've received the 25-26 workers' comp bill from the county. That's when that will get paid, is in the 25-26 fiscal year. We will be paying $330,842, which is a decrease of $6,670 compared to this year. For action items, my first one is the engagement letter for the village audit. So I'm seeking authorization from the mayor to sign a letter of agreement with EFPR Group, CPAs, to conduct the annual audit for the financial statements for the village of Massena beginning this fiscal year of 2024, May 31st.
Entertain a motion. Moved by trustee Simpson, second by trustee Peets. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Next, lastly, is opening a new bank account. Following the instruction on what's been going on with air products and this escrow payments, we're basically going to hold their money, and as we incur bills, I'll just transfer it from that account into the general checking account to reimburse it. But that's what the checks will be done. So I just want to get the authorization out there so that if I had to happen kind of quickly to get it going, I already have the authorization for it. So
Entertain a motion. Moved by trustee McGowan, second by trustee Peets. So we would be using the escrow account to pay Labella for the bills for any engineering for the water lines. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
So could I ask Kevin some questions?
Sure, absolutely.
Just quick, Kev. So what are we, 3 months into our budget? I'm just thinking, it's been 6 months since we've done our whole budget thing, right? What are we looking like for next year? Any idea? Are we looking good? I just want to put it out there early so residents aren't, I know you sent us all the documentation,
Yeah.
but
The best thing you can kind of look at is to know that if everything went according to plan, based on your budget, you had budgeted to spend just about $500,000 of fund balance. That's coming out and saying that you got an imbalance, you got more expenses than you do revenues. So it's early to tell, but if you budgeted properly and everything comes in the way you budgeted, then yeah, you're gonna use up $500,000 of your fund balance, which isn't going away next year.
right, so that's where I just want to go. So I want the residents to know, if we want to keep our services the same, we need to start thinking, right? I have bills at home, and if I want to go to dinner, I got to have the money in my pocket. So I think we just need to start thinking about that now, so the residents aren't come April like, oh, we have a big increase. Do we want these services? So I just wanted to put that out there.
Our revenues that we get for the stable, I guess, at least the best way to say it, they're not real volatile. The one thing that we do that has volatile is the sales tax, which still is not as volatile as it could be. So it comes down to the expenses. Hard to change the revenues, but change the expenses.
Thanks.
Committee reports, code.
Well, we met on the 9th. We discussed a variety of different things. We discussed, I guess most importantly, we discussed some language changes for code.
Well, I do, and that's why I asked Kevin some questions. You know, Chad and I were made aware in a year, we're gonna lose 2 career firefighters. So I think we really need to start thinking progressively, right? And, Foreman Hardy had a great idea. We get somebody hired before somebody leaves, because next year, I don't know where the overtime's going, right? If we're being short all summer, where are we how's that gonna offset? I would rather spend a few bucks early and then spending all summer, all the overtime. Within less than a year, there's gonna be two firefighters gone. So with the number of responses they're doing, what are you doing here? It's crazy, right? More than ever.
Oh, yeah, by far.
So and the inspections are up, permits are up, so we really need to, how do we want to move forward, right? Me personally, I think they're doing a great job with the EMS calls they're doing, the fire calls, the inspections. We really need to, I think, be progressive, spend money, a little money early and then a lot of money later. Because at this time next year, we could be 2 firefighters down, and how are you gonna work 7
And it'd be
firefighters
a
all summer?
huge setback as far as getting anything done there. We did talk about, the possibility. It's one thing if we lose 2 and we bring in 2, those 2 need to be trained up. They're not available for service right away. So there's just some big decisions coming that we need to make as a board, and how we're gonna do that. We can't wait for the last minute. So,
That's really all I got. I just wanted to put that out there, and
Foreman Hardy, did you want to jump in on anything?
You guys know it.
Okay, thank you. DPW, I know Marty's not here tonight.
well, we did have a little correspondence about the brush pile the other day. It's back to the point where we have non-residents that are using the brush pile. It's meant for residents and it's meant for brush, it's not meant for lumber. Because Marty sent us the message, was it $16,000, some crazy amount to have
Yeah,
a contractor come in and chip it.
it's $500 an hour plus $100 relocation fee, or moving fee each time, so.
So it's crazy. So he asked what we thought about locking the gate, and I love having the gate open, but if we have individuals from outside the community or professional tree cutters dumping their logs, that's not acceptable. So, you wanna add something else to?
No, I mean, that's just what we had discussed, so, what we're recommending is to lock the gate and have it open a few hours a day, to go out and
Get a permit like you had, a permit or a slip like you have to years ago, right? People had to go over to the DPW building so they could inspect it before you wouldn't drop it, which is a pain. I'm sure in the next few months we'll hear some more about our cleanup. If that's cost effective, that was where I was going with Kevin too. Is that something we really want to keep on the docket here? How much are we spending? You know, considering the county, when I went and dropped, had no help there and we're paying for them to be there. So, and they're short on help.
It's too bad that unfortunately, you know, it used to be a really nice service.
I agree.
Yes.
And I used it this year. If we're in the good next year, I'm for it, but I think we really need just another hard look, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
The FYI, the park is coming along nicely.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, it's great.
Economic development.
So we've been focusing on Fall Fest, of course. It is coming up in 4 weeks, October 12th, from 10 to 6. And we have over 50 vendors applied, a lot of new products this year, 2 breweries, 6 food trucks, a couple of new services this year, like fairy hair sparkle service, a permanent jewelry service. So it's coming on good, the live music. DPW worked with Brett, we're gonna get some picnic tables set up down there so people can sit in the recommendation from last year. We're gonna do something a little different with the kids' activities this year, with some carnival game type things with prizes. So that's coming up pretty quick.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Emergency services, let's do police first.
Chief, do you have anything?
This is the monthly report.
Why don't you go ahead and do that now?
Okay, for August, our patrols answered 799 complaints for service, issued 20 UTTs, conducted 67 traffic stops, had 6 mental health arrests, 18 penal arrests, and handled 5 motor vehicle accidents. My detectives adopted 18 new cases, served 4 new search warrants, made 10 felony arrests, and 11 misdemeanor arrests. Got a couple special details as well, Walmart theft detail, and we seized 8 ounces of cocaine and 5 ounces of fentanyl. And that'll be it.
Another busy month, thank you, Chief.
Word.
Fire?
Fire just wanted to share that, more about the drones, that the drone program, we've got 2 licensed FAA, partnering with 7 pilots, an interest list of about 20 people. Signed on with a company called Drone U, and that's gonna be helping to train before they send anyone off to Burlington for, I mean, there's a bunch more stuff going on with the drone program, that's just the basis.
Rescue, we met yesterday, we went over the contract with the volunteers we will present tonight. Sorry for this delay, that was kind of an oversight. They had their banquet, relatively good turnout, out at Ambets on the water. Had a great night. Unfortunately, I was out of town, so I wasn't able to attend, but they said it was everything went perfect. Personnel?
Residents report.
Rick?
I'll give a quick overview. Street hockey, old business, and street hockey camp, frisbee golf is going on. Youth soccer, over 500 kids again. Youth football's underway. They've been working with budget. I guess the parking lot came up again. I didn't make this month's meeting because they changed it last minute and I couldn't make it. think Mike sent an email this afternoon, hopefully you get some answers on that. New business, this is nice to know, they got a new scoreboard, CCOM paid for that. It's excellent. The train and toy show is this weekend, $5 to get in, which is always cool. Opening day for ice should be October 1st, and the beach is closed, which is dramatic. They could use it today. Yeah, so, lots of people are swimming anyway, so. Good. Thank you. You're welcome.
That's it for committee reports. We'll now do our first public comment period. Anyone wishing to address the board, please state your name, your residence, and fire away. Anyone in here? Go ahead, Jim.
I got a quick question, if I may. Regarding the fire, two positions that you want to take a hard look at. When is the last time we have gone to the town and looked for an increase?
We
To
just
their
did a
funding.
contract with them last year,
Okay.
3-year contract.
Was it, did it go up at all?
Yes,
or-
increase.
It did go up. Okay.
I'm not gonna say it was astronomical, but it went up.
Well, it never is.
No.
I'll tell you, we have the luxury of 9 academy-trained professionals. Unlike any other village or municipality in this area. Along with what they do with the code enforcement, I would hate to see, not funding and keeping the staffing the way it is, along with the policemen, obviously. But there's got to be some, I know sometimes there's an awful wish list over there for a lot of equipment, and they do a fine job, but sometimes we have to take a step back. They're probably best equipped fire department north of Watertown, in my opinion.
A step back to save personnel.
That and yeah, just look at the costs going out and, but I had a question for Kevin, if I can reserve that in a little bit.
Sure. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Yes, go ahead.
My name is Angela Massena, and I live at 74 Westwood. I'd like to address the board and the chief of police. There's been a lot of posts on social media, including individuals that appear to be a danger to themselves and others. A man was videoed on East Irving Street, barely able to walk, attempting to enter closed businesses. The police were called, they reported the individual was fine. Another individual in the Liberty Overstreet area has been observed at people's doorsteps with a bar and slingshot, also observed scratching his back with an axe. He's been also observed with just a towel around his waist. He was also in his underwear laying in the front of Capion's closed warehouse, twitching on the ground in broad daylight. Concerned citizens want to know what the village's position is on this matter. People are in fear, and these are just a few examples. A house on Beach Street has had 3 different people enter their house in the past month. 2 of them occurred over the weekend. They are mistaking their house for a house that is allegedly selling drugs. Concerned citizens would like to know what Massena PD's criteria is for the issue of pickup orders, and what is recommended for us to do to assist the community, because there's a lot of talk online and arguments. I was hoping that other people might show up, but
Well, I think you heard from Chief, 799.
I heard, and that's awesome.
And the individual
Safe
you're talking
mental health.
It's unfortunate, really.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, it's something that is helping, but over the weekend, it was pretty off the wall.
They're aware of the individual on the Liberty area. As a matter of fact, I think.
His family said that they were trying very hard, yes.
We have no control over pickup orders. Those have to be issued by a psychologist or a psychiatrist. We have no control over that. We have very little control over when we can take somebody into custody. Obviously, it's committing a crime, or anything that states that they're a danger to themselves or others. Okay? Odd behavior sometimes doesn't arise to the level of police intervention, although we all probably feel that sometimes it should. We can only work within the law, and trust me, my officers and myself have been very, very frustrated over the years. Very frustrated. But we will continue to work within the law, and we will continue to do everything we can with the staffing that we have and the resources available to us.
So do you recommend that the community continue to call your office and make you
I would
aware?
I would never recommend to not call.
People seem to be, you know, like they are saying online that it's not worth it.
Well, I don't believe anything I read online.
I understand that, but I
Not
would
one
like
single
to
thing.
convey the proper
If-
thing, like they can provide video to you.
If they have evidence that they have an issue, they have to call us.
Got it.
And to follow up with that, this is another issue. When you call us and we need your assistance to give us a deposition, or give us your name, or talk to us when we show up to your home and not just not answer the door, that's pretty important too for us to be able to do our job. We cannot support any type of arrest without evidence. And sometimes that evidence is in the form of a witness statement. And if you're unwilling to cooperate with the police, then that leaves us limited to what we can do. Okay? And I know people are nervous and scared, but at some point they have to take control of their community.
That's right.
They have to do their part as well.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Angie, I just want to add to that too. So I can attest to what the chief says about issuing the pickup order, you know, or mental health field. And the police can pick up an individual who threatens to kill themselves or kill somebody else, but as far as the pickup order, I know the general public thinks that if somebody's a danger to themselves, there's criteria that is a danger to themselves, right? So if an individual is concerned that somebody is a danger to themselves or others, or is experiencing mental illness, you can be mentally ill and be in the community, that's not a danger to themselves or others, right? So if they're concerned about that, they can always contact Reach Out. And 315-265-2422 is Reach Out's number.
Okay.
And they can say that they are concerned and that they want an evaluation. Or
Okay.
they want somebody to be checked on.
I just would like.
It's not always criminal.
Right, I just would like the general community to understand, so like hopefully, you know, John's recording and people will hear this so that it stops the argument and.
And Reach Out works with the police, and
Perfect.
if they feel that that person needs to be picked up, they'll contact the police, and they'll have a pickup order issued to take care of that individual.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else here wishing to address?
Kevin,
Yeah, go ahead. Kevin.
Kevin, I've had numerous conversations with Don Meisner in relation to the fishing tournaments that have been going on and such. And he wanted to see if there was some way that we could get an impact study done as far as the revenue that it brings into, say, the village or the town of Massena or something like that. I think he went to the Canton to St. Lawrence County without any luck. Is that something that you have knowledge about or anything like
No.
that?
Really, the only one that can do it is the county. The county treasurer has the ability to contact New York State to find out its broad categories. I can't say it's really going to be detailed, but they have access to New York State because it's the money that's going to the county that is kind of shared with us.
Right.
So I don't have any involvement in it. But the county treasurer, I believe, is the one that has the ability to contact New York State to at least kind of get an idea of, they have groupings of different categories.
Right.
And they can show what has increased or decreased from last year to this year, those kind of things. But I really would have expected by now, New York State would have some more in-depth data to be able to kind of slice and dice those kind of things and see. But I haven't seen anything, but I'm also not to that circle anymore.
Is that something that, I can't remember, quarterly we get back from the county?
Yeah.
Quarterly, okay.
Quarterly, yeah.
So there must be an obvious increase with the summer months involved and probably the winter 4 months.
It depends what's going on. Back during COVID, we saw when the stimulus money went out, we saw a big influx of revenue coming in. It's somewhat cyclical, but it can also just be a driver of inflation, is pushing things down again. But gas prices is a big impact. When gas prices go up, we end up getting more money because there's more tax revenue being generated. So there's so many different moving parts to it that I really wish we could see more data to kind of get a better thumb on it.
If I remember correctly, Jim, when I was on the county board, Clarkson Yeah, grad students did a study. However, what's that?
For the Massena.
Yeah, but it wasn't data collected, it was projected, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the closest that they've come to that.
Okay.
But, yeah, but it would, you're right, it would be really interesting
Yeah, I
to
mean,
see.
when I went out there, there was 160 guys going out in the water, you know, and if you times 5 tournaments, whatever's out there, it's gotta have some impact, I would imagine.
And the way that everything is filed electronically these days, back 10, 15 years ago, it was all paper.
Right.
So, yeah, you're not gonna see that, but now everything's so electronic that you would think they would be able to have that kind of data analyzed.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Tom
Tom,
Spooner, I, from here in Massena, own quite a bit of property. I have an issue with some of the boarded up properties here. They seem to be, I seem to be having problems with rodents. I've never seen a cockroach in my 30 years of running apartments here in town. I'm getting them in clean apartments, I'm getting skunks, I'm getting raccoons, I've been setting traps all year. And that sycamore, I mean, you buried garbage inside them places. And there's garbage, I have pictures up to the ceiling. And I watched the village throw garbage inside them when they were boarding them up. And, you know, it's just ridiculous. I mean, that's gonna have a trickle effect, you know, it's affecting my property, my tenants. You know, we get a few mice in the fall maybe, you know, when they start trying to get in. With mice all year, I mean, it's like, I have exterminator costs, and I don't know what else to blame it on. I just know 59 and 61 they're full of garbage.
Which buildings were those, Tom?
The ones you boarded up on Sycamore, 59 and 61.
We boarded up a lot of them on Sycamore.
Every one of them was full of garbage, 3 in a row, I'm talking 59, 61, 63.
So as I'm heading towards Liberty, the ones on the left.
Yes.
Geez, Tom, I was there when they boarded those up. The amount of garbage we took out of there was stunning. I mean,
They cleaned off the porch, but they said they couldn't go in. Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
that's what I saw then.
because I'm just talking, they cleaned off what was in the front yard.
Okay. When
And
we
they
board
took-
up, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, Tom, I'm gonna cut you off. When we board up, if I'm not mistaken, we can't go in and take out personal property. We can only clean up what's around the property.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct.
That
Then you'd
is
have to
correct.
get some type of a warrant. We're
Yeah.
not doing evictions, we are securing a unsafe structure.
You have to get a search warrant, and you can get a criminal or a civil, and this would be a civil search warrant to be able to go into the building to do that. It's something that we should have a discussion with our attorney about.
Tom, I can tell you this, the county did sign a contract to tear down the big one on the corner, the red one. That should be down, I'm hoping by the end of October, but let's say by the end of
I
November.
thought that was one of the better ones.
The other three, those are, and I'm sure that individual who lives in Canada hasn't paid his taxes on those, so this year, those go up for auction. I highly doubt anyone's gonna buy those. If those aren't bought, then we'll petition the county again to tear those down. And I'm sorry, it's frustrating, but you see, these are long processes.
Yeah.
Doing our best, we really are. But if, the other thing, we can talk to the animal control officer from the town, maybe they can go over and do some trapping for you.
Yeah.
And get some of those rodents and pests out of there.
Okay.
But we'll do our best, Tom.
Okay.
Well, this discussion's been going on forever, Tom.
Yeah.
We have bad neighbors now, right? It's not like when you and I go as
Yeah.
kids, everybody took care of their home. And you knew people. Now, you don't, I have no idea, you know? You're doing a great job, and then you get these out-of-towners, they care nothing about us, right? They get their $10 and they're off, right? You never see them. And then police and fire and code and DPW, we're spending our money that we should be spending somewhere else. It's good sad.
You'll see there's another property that we're gonna deal with tonight.
It's sad.
But we'll keep plugging away. Thank you. Anyone else here? Okay. Anyone online wishing to address the board?
Yes, sir.
Please state your name and your residence.
Mary Skelly, Augsburg, New York. Just asking, I see the chief is there, if there's any updates on missing person Kingsley Robert. And, really just looking for a meeting in the next month to, present a timeline.
Chief Olson doesn't discuss.
Mary, yes, I do not discuss active investigations with
No?
anybody outside the family or law enforcement.
Just
That's,
an update.
no, absolutely
No
not.
details. I want to provide details.
And you can
I
call
have,
the law,
you know,
you can call the
I-
police
it's the
department,
second
speak with the
time.
detective, but we're not gonna discuss anything here.
You're not gonna take what the evidence that I've collected with the team?
Mary, you can call and speak with the detective, we're not gonna discuss anything here.
Chief, she may not be able to hear you well. The town messing up with the settings every time. Mary, can you hear the chief?
Mary, can you hear me?
I cannot.
Mary, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir.
I do not discuss open and active investigations outside of law enforcement or the immediate family. If you have anything that you want to discuss, you can contact Detective O'Brien at Massena PD, but we're not gonna discuss that here.
Sir?
You're welcome.
Sorry, the town
Thank you.
changes the settings every time.
Anyone else online wishing to address the board? Seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to old business. First up, to establish the public hearing date to amend chapter 240 of the solid waste law. That would be for October 15th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. First, I'll entertain a motion. Moved by trustee Pete, second? Second by trustee Simpson. Yeah, so they presented the changes to us. And yeah, I'm fine with them. I know, Ken, I actually thought about increasing the recycling, you know, but when you kind of mentioned that, you weren't too sure about that. I started thinking, I'm like, I can imagine just people overstuffing something that big, and I started thinking, you know what, I think Ken's right on that.
Well, I don't want to state any names, so I talked to the previous supervisor down there, and he said that's a bad idea. I talked to an individual who went out on workers' comp, he said it's a bad
I
idea.
talked to him as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I talked to a few of the active employees, and actually went out there one day when they were picking my recyclables, and they still have to lift it up, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, if we want to do it right, we have something lifted.
Mechanical.
Yeah.
That way people aren't getting hurt, because I know, you mentioned a few months ago, workers' comp, you know what I mean? I don't even know what that would cost, right?
Yeah.
You did have.
I did have
details.
details.
Yeah. But we can save that for the discussion, but yeah, I think it's wise, as you said, to kind of leave it to can sizes.
So, so just to clarify, the language that was presented is good, nothing
Yeah.
needs to be changed.
No.
Okay.
So,
You want to hold off on that, the fabric discussion?
That was it, wasn't it?
I removed,
No, yeah, it's in there.
we haven't, I don't know what to,
I know. Well, here's my issue, when I'm gonna throw the county under the bus, right? I would rather recycle everything instead of throwing it away, right? So here's the issue, right? We used to be able to recycle fabrics, right? Now they don't have anybody there, or they don't have a container. She came last month, it was very informative, but do we want to be throwing away pillows every month?
But is that something that service in return?
I don't know.
They
I think
don't-
that she
they
was
don't-
kind of
she didn't know either.
suggesting that,
I don't know.
her end, the machinery was not capable of keeping all the.
Yeah.
So, we don't know.
We don't know.
I don't remember if
planning again. I need to have some more conversations, but I don't know, it's tough to find, somebody who will accept or offers that program.
Maybe somebody's an entrepreneur and want to make some money, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to address that at the, you know, maybe it's something where we say temporarily we'll accept it until, yeah. So anyway, we got a motion to, for the public hearing, and we had a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, the creation of subcommittee in relation to general code of the village of Massena. And I mentioned this at the last meeting. In essence, guys, this would be looking at the code in terms of rental properties, but also in terms of repeat offenders, okay? And obviously, Chad and Ken will do a great job with that, and Aaron. But I also kind of wanted some community input, so I did reach out to a few people that had experience with this. I asked Dennis Kemison, and he agreed. I asked Todd Manning, and he agreed. And I haven't spoken to Don Lucas, but I think he'd be great too. So, and I know Aaron works pretty well. I cleared those names with Aaron and stuff, so that would be the committee that I would ask to take a look at the code in that regard.
So, are we gonna supply them with what we want them to look at? Is that,
Yes.
I don't know if they're really familiar with the code, right?
Right.
So
this would be,
that way we have a mission instead of just sitting and BSing for an hour, because our time is valuable.
Yep.
And that way it doesn't drag on for 8 months and we got nowhere.
right.
So,
No, absolutely. I think this would be, this isn't gonna be a one meeting, you know, this is, I'd like to see this, you know, your first meeting be within the month, and then progressively work and be ready to present something to us, let's say for the April or May meeting, so that code can take effect.
that makes sense.
That was kind of my plan. I didn't wanna rush anyone, I just wanted this to be kind of a good look at it.
It gives those individuals a chance to maybe do a little research on their own, right?
For sure.
Because Aaron's busy and, you know,
Yes.
we all have lives outside of the village, right?
Yep.
So maybe these individuals can take 10 minutes and Google somebody else's code and be like, this is what they're doing. Why don't we try to implement that here? So,
Sure. So that's the committee. I know I mentioned that last month, and I actually wanted to go ahead and appoint that. I don't think we need a motion. No.
good, excellent.
Super. I was also gonna mention that the county signed a contract to tear down the building at Woodlawn and Sycamore, but I want to mention that. That's all I have for old business. New business. First up, a proposed resolution for the, thank you. A proposed resolution for the authorized professional services agreement with PMA Management Corp. as a TPA for general liability and auto claims programs. That would be September 1, 2024, September 1, 2025.
So their third-party claims adjuster, they took over for Greg Granger. They have, a couple of cases when we started with them that are still open, or claims, I guess. So this isn't for all the claims, this isn't for any current claims, this is just old stuff we're clearing up, and the amount will continue to go down as the claims drop off.
Questions? It's a roll call vote. Trustee Peets? Trustee McGowan?
Aye.
Trustee Simpson?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries. Next up, the report of an unsafe structure at 4042 Woodlawn. Aaron?
Okay, so according to code, we come across one of these, have to issue a report first to the village board, and then we have to, not have a public hearing, establish a public hearing on this. So this property was actually, it's been on our radar multiple times, it has been boarded up in the past, there's been squatter issues there. Recently, the mowing company that we pay for was over there mowing the lawns, we've been the full-time lawn care service for this location for years now. And the owner of the property was there, the mowing company was actually there, and he got a hold of me right away, so you need to come take a look at the side of this building. unsafe or dangerous, we hit pretty much every single one of them. The broken windows, the busted doors, the structural issues are my biggest concern. If you look at the opening on that one corner of that building, you can see where their weather rot, bad. You can see the structural members starting to collapse floor by floor on that thing. And we need to have a public hearing on this thing and come up with a determination as to what we should do with this thing, try to secure it or remove it. And just looking at it, from what I'm seeing so far, without being inside of it, I don't think anybody should be going inside of that thing to even try to secure it. I think it would cost way too much money to try to do anything other than tear this thing down.
This is the old Woodlawn Hotel with the Celtic Inn. Yeah, so, I agree, the photos.
Aaron?
Go ahead, Ken.
Is there an owner?
Well, it actually recently changed hands. I think it's only gone from one computer to another. It's currently sitting with a owner that from Flushing, New York, or it is an owner from Amsterdam, New York. We've had zero community, we had nothing.
Are they paying their taxes?
Don't believe so.
So I'll entertain a motion for a public hearing in regards to this property. It would be on October 15th at 5:31 p.m. So moved by trustee Simpson, second. Second by trustee McCown. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
We'll make sure we get this all posted up and attempt to get this to the property owner.
I think I know the answer to this. Boy, this used to be a great way to get rid of buildings. Control burns.
Yeah.
Burn it.
There you go.
DEC's not a big fan of that anymore, let's put it that way.
No?
No, and state fire, you got all sorts of crazy rules and regulations on these
Chief,
things.
are you guys going over there too?
See that,
Have you
if
been?
if we're called,
Okay, I didn't know if that was the next wonderful
They-
palace in the village, so.
They have been in the past.
yeah, for sure. We've been in and out of there in the past several times.
I would be worried with people deciding to make that their residence, and
That's always a worry with all the.
especially with that unsafe structure.
And I can tell you that there's a very good chance we're gonna have another one of these to discuss at the next month's board.
Which is too bad.
We're working on the
5:35.
paperwork now.
It used to be a cool place 35 years ago.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
Thank you.
Next up, entertain a motion for the authorization to purchase the Bobcat skid steer loader for DPW. Moved by trustee McGowan, second. Second by trustee Peets. This was authorized in the budget.
It's actually saving a couple bucks.
Yeah, it is. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, motion to award the bids from the surplus sale to Auctions International. Moved by trustee McGowan, second. Second by trustee Simpson. So we put up a bunch of surplus stuff in the DPW. How much did we, I forget. I remember seeing it, I forgot the number. Made a pretty good chunk of change, to be honest with you.
I think Sandy Roberts bought half of it.
85,000.
85,070. Good. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Well, that's good news, because this is gonna help with the next.
Yes, it will.
I'll entertain a motion to approve funding for the Fall Fest for a total of $2,000. So moved. Moved by trustee Simpson, second.
I'll second it.
Second by trustee McDowell. I think the money that we spent last year was money well spent. I think it's well spent this year. It was such a positive, we had a lot of positives from that.
And I asked for less.
Yeah, fireworks?
No fireworks.
Yeah, no fireworks. this
No
year.
fireworks?
We are ending early.
Okay, yep,
10 o'clock was too late.
Yeah,
last
Yeah.
it's too late.
okay, good. What time are we ending this year?
6.
Okay, excellent. Very, very good pay on the farm.
City?
It's not much though. You only budgeted 9,000 for that, public line, that's our expense, so it's for.
Contingency?
It's appropriated to
Right.
the public seat.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, a proposed resolution to authorize the agreement with Massena Volunteer Emergency Unit Incorporated. Entertain a motion. Moved by trustee Pete, second by trustee Simpson. Pretty much the same agreement, the only real change, we changed the dates, you know, this is now a year instead of that 6 months. And also the rates changed as well, they went up, so. Question?
They do rate service.
They do. Sure do. It's a roll call vote, trustee Pete,
Aye.
trustee McGowan,
Aye.
trustee Simpson.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Next up, entertain a motion to authorize the letter of intent with Air Products for installation of electric vehicle charging units. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Pete, second.
Second.
Second by trustee McCown. So, part of their permitting and licensing and such is that it's part of their green permit. They have to put up charging stations at various locations throughout the village. Those haven't been determined yet. They just have to put this letter in with our approval saying we are going to do this, that's our intent to do. And it, obviously, they would put in, it's all of their cost.
Next one. Are they going to pay the cost after the fact too, because we get charged every month?
I believe, like,
One up here.
yeah, so the charging stations would be, the individual has to pay for it.
Yeah, but we-
Now, there's other costs.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, if they aren't doing it, we don't want it.
Okay, yeah, take that. out.
Yeah,
Because
for
the
sure.
cost that we pay for this one.
Yeah.
Connectivity and all
Okay.
those things.
Gotcha.
And the revenue goes right to the village?
It would.
Yes.
How do they regulate the cost? How is that regulated? I mean, you know what you're getting when you pump gas.
Well, I'm guessing, and Amy McMahon's not here, but I don't believe they get the rate that you and I get as homeowners. My belief is that they pay the rate of whatever the purchase power rate is on the open market. So like a lot of times, you know, the Massena is allotted X amount of power. You might see this on your electricity. Now, mind you, this is through the town. And so sometimes at high peaks, like when it's high out, and everybody's running their air conditioner, the amount of power that we're getting from the power authority isn't enough. And so Massena Electric has to go out in the open market and buy that. You see that PPO, I believe, is the abbreviation. And that's why sometimes you see our bill kind of go whoop, because they had to go out and purchase more power on the open market, which is more costly than reduction needed that. So I'm assuming that's where they get that power.
Okay, so the consumer that buys it for their car, it's gonna fluctuate just like the gas does.
Correct.
Here,
For sure.
but the revenue collected will come to the village.
Yes. Yep. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Aye. What?
Thank you.
Yep. Opposed? Motion carried. Voucher warrants, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the voucher warrants that were signed by Mayor Paquin, trustee Winston, and myself.
Second?
Second.
Second by trustee Simpson. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Permit firefighters code, we already kind of covered everything. Anything else to add? Under our monthly reports, we did the rescue squad, we did the police department, Explore Massena.
That's on the drive.
No.
That's H3 Designs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Communications, reminder of our Fall Fest on October 12th, 2024. Anything else to add, Monique?
There's a couple of comments on the chat, that I just wanted to mention. The beach needs to be patrolled more. That'd be a state police thing, but if that's something you wanna bring back here. The beach, the town beach, I believe. And
That's something we can make Mike McCabe aware of.
yes, that's,
You can contact the county sheriff and the state police.
oh, Beach Street,
Oh,
sorry.
Beach Street, gotcha. Oh, that is us.
And, then somebody asked, is there something in the works to bust the drug house, 131 Beach Street, as we are sick of all the people coming up and down. I don't know, these people. As we are sick of all the people coming up and down our street all hours of the night, and,
Beach Street, Beach Street, Beach Street.
yeah,
Yeah.
Beach Street, got it.
We patrol the entire village, and again, I do not discuss open and active investigations.
Chief can't discuss open, active investigations.
But I can assure you all streets, all areas of the village are patrolled to our best ability, resources we have.
All areas are patrolled and, yes.
And if you, I saw something with needles at the,
Yeah, I was going back to that, but,
yeah, need to remind the public that we can't be everywhere all the time and see everything all the time. So if you're seeing something, don't wait till a board meeting. Call the police department immediately. Just call us. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why you pay taxes. And we'll go out and we'll handle that. So needles are a very important thing for us to make sure that we get out of the community. So if you're seeing needles anywhere within the village of Massena, call us immediately. Kids are still out playing quite a bit. Pets, you know, people walking their dog. We don't want that in the community whatsoever. So please call us immediately if you're seeing that. Do not wait to call. Do not hesitate.
So I just want to add here, right? I know I mentioned the fire department, and I should mention everybody, right? If we want the services that we have, it costs money, and as the chief mentioned, he only has so much. I'm sure we all hear it, our taxes are too high, our taxes are too high. This is what we have, right? And I know I mentioned Aaron, and his staff is busy, the PD is busy, the DPW, they're down staff, right? And we're having them do stuff that we used to do with 10 and 15 more people, right? We really have to look at it. And we have our administration staff, they're swamped, and all the secretary are swamped. This is what it costs. It costs money to provide this service. So just complaining that our taxes are too high isn't the answer. These are the services we provide. It is what it is, and they're not gonna go down. And everybody does a great job in the village, and everybody's swamped. So I just put that out there and thank everybody.
If I may.
We might as well do the closing public comment period. Jim?
Yeah, well, I was just, your timing's impeccable. I was just, would it help if our parks were better lit than what they are right now?
I think, you know, lighting is very, very important, but we also gotta be, you know, absolutely, I mean, if the parks are better lit and you can shine a light on that area, just like cockroaches, right? Shine a light on, they get out, they leave.
Right.
So, but here's the other flip side to lighting too much within a community creates light pollution and it can disrupt the sleep of people, and it can be very, very unhealthy for a community. So we have to find a balance with that. I don't want to, you know, start putting lights everywhere and then having people's sleep at night being disrupted. Their circadian clock or whatever it's called can be, it's very sensitive.
No, and I can appreciate that. I just, when I pass the alcohol park, where the kids' play scape is, it's like a magnet for some of these kids.
It sure is.
You
It's
know,
been a problem for many years.
Yeah, and just maybe one or two lights, not even, but I know it's not that expensive to use the LED lights like the old ones used to be. And maybe just, I don't know, some sort of deterrent.
Yeah, I agree. But, again, I don't want to be too scientific. I'm not a scientist, but LED lights are very, very, very unhealthy.
Being a good parent helps too.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately,
That's the biggest.
you know, when you have kids having kids,
Yeah.
you don't have that,
But we can look into, I can certainly look into some things that maybe we can, add additional lighting without causing any more light pollution for the community. See if we can't strike a balance there. But I'll definitely look into that. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Anyone else wishing to address the board?
name's Doug Wilcox, and I live on West Hatfield, and my wife and I are here tonight out of frustration. We live next door to a suspected drug dealer, and anytime our village police or the parole officers have been there, they're more than happy to let us know that they understand what's going on there. We just have to be patient. It's been 2 years. Now, I understand this is difficult, and it's very time-consuming for police to accumulate enough evidence, but us waiting on an outside police agency to be able to make an arrest is having a big effect on the quality of life in our community. Right now, there's a pile of trash that's been sitting on the curb that the village isn't able to pick up. It's been there for 2 weeks. There's an even bigger pile, 2 piles of trash in the backyard that have been there all summer. It's a flop house, people are coming and going, and they're not even bashful. I've sat on my front porch and watched the drug exchanges going on in the driveway 20 feet away. There's even been curbside service. And they are now using Springs Park, which I don't see our police officers patrolling enough. We've got children down there in the park, and there's drug deals going on while the children are in that park with their parents. We've reached kind of a point of frustration. More needs to be done, and I would really love to invite our chief to come sit with us on our front porch some weekend. Traffic ramped up today. I think they got a new shipment. But it usually hits on Friday or Thursday or Friday. The traffic's going to be there. I'd love to have you come join us so you can see what's going on for yourself.
I'm very aware of what's going on in the village, sir, and I appreciate that. But, you know, I hear every word that you're saying, and I would love nothing more than to be able to have the staff to be able to do everything that we want to do in this village to clean it up. I would love nothing more than that. It would take an enormous amount of manpower. It would. This is at no fault of the taxpayer. Okay, it's the way our society is going. But, you know, and the frustration with an outside agency, that's a parole warrant for that individual. Okay. And unfortunately, the way legislation has been passed over the years, and not just this current, you know, administration in Albany, and not the current administration in Washington, but it's been cumulative over the years how they have tied law enforcement's hands when it comes to narcotics investigations. Okay, just recently they took away our ability to use asset forfeiture funds from the federal government to do drug purchases. What's that leave us? Nothing. We you know, our undercovers can't even go buy drugs because we don't have the funds to be able to do that without taking more funds from the taxpayer. You know, so it's very, very frustrating, and I hear you. I hear you.
I'm a retired corrections counselor. I was on the other end, and I do understand
It's very
our
frustrating.
legislatures have tied your hands. But I also, driving around this village, know that if we don't do something to fight back, we're not